It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Jeff and Gina are here with the last show of the year. And even as we speak, big stories breaking out of Sony Pictures Entertainment and the hack. We've got all that news. Plus, we'll talk about whether the media has a right to rehash the information the hackers stole. It's all coming up next on Twig.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twig.
Bandwidth for This Week in Google is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com. This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 280, recorded December 17th, 2014. Sony Pictureless. This Week in Google is brought to you by Harry's. For guys who want a great shave experience for a fraction of what you're paying now, go to harrys.com and get $5 off your first purchase by entering the code TWIG when you check out. And by Jack Irwin. Jack Irwin sells men's shoes made from the finest materials at honest prices, and they ship them right to your door. Check out their shoe collections at jackerwin.com/twit. That's jackerwin.com/twit. And by FreshBooks, the simple cloud accounting solution that helps millions of entrepreneurs and small business owners save time billing and get paid faster. Join over 5 million users running their business with ease. Try it free at freshbooks.com/twig. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, the show where we cover Google, the cloud, the Google-verse, the Twitter-verse, the Facebook-verse. What is your verse? This is our last show of 2014. Gina Trapani is here from ThinkUp.com. She's also a developer and host of All About Android every Tuesday night on this network.
Hi.
Hi.
2014.
From her Brooklyn basement abode.
Yes. Nice. Good to be here.
Nice.
I can't believe it's our last show of 2014. That's crazy. I'm gonna be around on New Year's Eve, so it's not my last time on Twit in 2014, but.
Well, that's right, and we should mention that. Next week, we'll have a best-of show, and then some of you will appear on our New Year's Eve show, which is 2 weeks from now. Right about this time, I'll be like, my eyes will be going. I'll be falling asleep. Jeff Jarvis is also here, professor of journalism, City University of New York. BuzzMachine.com is his blog, and also writes a lot on Medium. Hello, boys and girls.
Hello. Even without a New Year's show, I'm tired now. I'm of that age. It's time for a nap.
So the story that you could not reveal to us, of course, last week because you were embargoed, broke immediately after the show.
Oh, no, it didn't. It was driving me nuts because I knew the story during the show. As I said to you, I had an embargo, which you advised not doing, but I did, and for other purposes. And I went to them, and I saw that it had broken in a Spanish site. So as we're on the show, I'm emailing Google saying, release me, let me go. And I respected the embargo. And no, we're not going to do this till the morning. I said, well, it's going over the web. It's going all over. People are asking us about it on Twitter. Come on. No. And then about an hour after the show, they said, oh, we're going to release it soon.
Timing.
So, yeah. The
story was
that Google News was shutting down in Spain because of the Spanish link tax, which may not be huge news, as I said last week, to all of you, but to me it was huge news.
Well, and Spain did what Germany did, only they went even a little bit farther.
A lot farther.
Because the Spanish law required a newspaper to bill Google if Google even featured a headline from the Spanish news. Forget snippets, even a headline. Any text at all from the Spanish publication, then the Spanish publication was required by that law to ask for royalties from Google. Google's response was, we don't make any money on Google News. You want us to pay for Google News? That's fine. No problem. We'll just shut it down. And so they did.
They did?
And
finally called a European bluff.
And well done, because just as the German publishers, Google did do this in Germany too, right?
Well, no, Google said the difference was, Google said in Germany, if you don't give us permission, we will not put up snippets.
Right.
We will put up, they still put up
they still linked.
Headlines.
All right.
No pictures, no snippets, just a headline, because that was what the law allowed. They said, okay, we'll put up a headline. And for Die Welt, and 3 minor built brands, Built Auto and 2 others. They did that. 2 weeks later, the Germans cried uncle or uncle. And very subtle German joke there. Very
Okay.
subtle.
Okay.
And said we lost too much traffic and we go back up. Now, with that lesson having been had, the Spanish passed their law. And full disclosure here, I spoke on this the week that they passed it at a Google event in Spain. Google paid my travel expenses. They do not pay fees to me. And I told them, I said, this is dangerous. You're killing the web. This is going to be bad. You're not going to want this. And of course, all of Spain didn't listen to me. And they passed the law, and Google said as of Tuesday, this law is supposed to go into effect January 1, but Google said we can't negotiate with you. In Germany, we could negotiate. We could say we'll put up headlines, no snippets, agree or not. Here, there was no option on the publishers of any size to agree. And then the publishers afterwards were supposedly trying to go to the EU saying help and kind of make Google negotiate. But I talked to Google about this, and Google said to their interpretation, the Spanish publishers were trying to say make them pay, and we're not paying. So no, that's it. Google News Spain right now is dead.
As of 8:30 Eastern last night, they shut it down, and already, according to Matthew Ingram writing at GigaOM, Chartbeat is reporting double-digit declines in outside traffic to these Spanish news sites. The blue line is today. The green line is the same day last week. Double-digit declines already, and guess what? I love this. This must make Google feel so good. Less than 12 hours later, Spanish publishers have gone to the government asking for help.
Be careful what you wish for, amigos.
So this is just Google News? This isn't just straight Google search?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Gina. Because the law is specifically written to aggregators, to the act of aggregating, and search is a different act. So if I come across a headline in search that is not, even though Google News, we know in America, basically provides those headlines, but if I search for a headline and it comes up in search, that's not a problem. If you aggregate the headlines, this was aimed strictly at Google News, then you're out. But of course, it's not just Google News. Anybody else who aggregates headlines in the same boat. What's so abhorrent about this is it taxes speech.
The Spanish Association of Daily Newspaper Publishers said in a statement late last week, the closure of Google News is not equivalent to the closing of another service, given its dominant position in the market, and will undoubtedly have a negative impact on Spanish citizens and business. They therefore require the intervention of Spanish and EU authorities and of competition authorities to protect the rights of citizens and business. They want the next step, a law forcing Google to keep Google News open.
I'm trying to understand the logic here. So the idea is Google's not allowed to create another front page to our content? Is that like
okay, I'll be a Spanish publisher for a moment.
Please.
So we work very hard. We spend many dollars making the beautiful newspaper. That's
You're
Italian.
a Hasidic Spanish publisher.
that sounds Italian, but I'll take it.
Yes.
I like it.
And it's a newspaper. It's made of fine Corinthian. No, the newspaper. You take and make a page with the headlines and the snippets. Nobody gonna read the newspaper because you have basically piggybacked on our content. And you're reusing our content without giving us any compensation for it. It's as if Google went out and took clips from all the podcasts, put it on one page, so nobody would have to listen to the podcast anymore because I got everything I need on the one page.
Okay.
I think that's not an unreasonable. I can understand why they feel that way. What it ignores is the amount of traffic that Google actually does send to them, and now they have. Proof of this, that in fact, it's a net gain for you because it doesn't stop people from going to your sites. More people go to your sites.
Indeed, if anyone should be charging anybody, it's Google should be charging for the distribution and promotion.
In the words of iBookery, my name is Spanish newspaper. You killed my circulation. Now prepare to die. I'm sorry.
Well,
That's a
Leo,
very bad play on the Princess Bride. It's not. Go ahead.
How would you feel if someone, and I know the fans of Twit have done this, but if say someone did a massively viral supercut of Twit videos that removed all the sponsors and were just the best parts, and it was someone completely unaffiliated with Twit, and it went totally viral on YouTube, and people loved it. And that was the video that people were sharing. I mean, I guess this isn't really a great analogy because you can't
No, I would be thrilled about it. I tell you what, I'll be honest, I would be thrilled about it. Our license, in fact, explicitly allows that. We're Creative Commons. You can remix our content. The only requirements are you have to give attribution. It would have to say this is a mashup of Twit shows, and you can't do it for commercial purposes. So you could put it on YouTube, but you couldn't monetize it on YouTube. And that's exactly what Google's doing, by the way. They are not monetizing. There's no ads on Google News, and they're remixing it. And the reason I would welcome it is because it would be my hope, and I'm pretty sure it would be the case, that people would watch it and go, oh, I like that. Let me find out more about Twit.
Yeah, and indeed, Gina, when Repost.us was alive, and we worked with them, and we're working in New Jersey with an alternative now copyright, but the data from Repost showed that when people read an embedded article, and the entire article or the entire blog post was embedded on your site, from BuzzMachine, let's say, that the click-through rate, which you'd think would be zero under the argument you just made, because you've just read the entire article, you're sated, you're full, no more, I have no hunger, thank you very much. Instead, the click-through rate ran as a rule 3 to 5%, or 5 to 7%.
Interesting.
Which says that, and those are very qualified clicks, because they're all saying, hey, I like you, and
I want to see more.
Yeah.
Right.
And so what it says is your content is your best ad. What we need is new business models to support this kind of distribution, but that's not what. So actually, I think that we need to do is somewhere. I've been trying to find cooperative parties for years who would do a study on this. I wrote a white paper about this a couple of years ago. So what I want to do is test the kinds and lengths of links to see what's most effective. And I think that there's an argument that says that something that's too short isn't actually that good. That Google's links now on Google News are actually too short because you don't know enough what you're going to get. Nah, I won't bother clicking. And it's impossible for me to say that the argument you made, I think, Gina, that they're making is, well, you're sated, you're full, you knew everything you needed to know. Well, yeah, if what you need to know is just simply that you can buy Cuban cigars again, then that's all you need to know. But in fact, you're going to want to know more than that. You want to go say, well, what is the deal with this Cuban thing? And can I get cigars? And what's the whole thing? And by the way, what's about their human rights and all kinds of things? You're going to go and look farther. But if all you need to know is, rain tomorrow, yeah, that information stops you. But for the kinds of things that are in Google News, that's just not the case.
And they're not doing whole articles, right? They're just doing snippets.
Just doing brief snippet. Yeah. Now then I think that's one level, right? The other extreme is the whole article, which I just talked about. The question for me is, what's the most effective in the middle? If you look at, Business Insider, they and many other sites. I don't mean to pick on Business Insider, but Business Insider, GigaOM, lots and lots of sites basically take out the soul of an article, rewrite it, make it shorter. Now, that's a different argument, because what that says is, well, maybe your article is too long and it's actually a service to give me a shorter version. And maybe I don't click through from that because I got everything I needed. Or maybe it enticed me so much I did want to read the whole thing. There's no research whatsoever on that kind of data. And I want to try to work with someplace like Chartbeat and cooperative publishers to do some A/B tests and figure that out.
I have to say, the way I use Google News is exactly as this is basically just an ad for the longer story, as far as I'm concerned. So I go to SciTech on Google News, and I see top stories, much like Tech Meme, which does the same thing. A snippet is no more than a sentence or two. That just tells me kind of what the story is about and where they're going with it. And at that point, I'm always going to click, and I always do, on the link and read the story and see the ads, more importantly, on the source site.
Gina, were you making a devil's advocate argument, or do you think Google News does go too far?
I'm trying to understand where they're coming from and what they feel that Google is taking away from them. So I was asking Leo because I just
because you like my accent.
Well, no. I don't know. I thought it would be sort of an analogy.
No, but I think
I know that your attitudes about this are very. I know that you know that Twit's content is an advertisement for Twit. Podcasts are a little different though, because they don't quite. It isn't a blue link to click on.
What if though somebody took this entire show edited out the ads because they find them offensive, and put it on YouTube. They could do that, by the way. Our license does not prohibit that.
But that's clearly different.
Right.
But it's not. It's legal. I wouldn't stop them, and I wouldn't worry about it too much either. Now, if if we lost our audience, if our audience went and started watching that instead of watching the ad-supported versions, it might put me out of business. But what else? I'm not going to change my license because of that. So anyway, I buy into this notion that this is good publicity, that this drives traffic. This is good. Even with snippets, this is good for Spanish publishers. I think they're learning that lesson. I find it very ironic that their reaction to that is, well, we got to go back to the government and get an even stronger law forcing Google to keep doing it.
Well, because that's the whole real game here. In both Germany and in Spain and potentially at the EU level, we're trying to put Google, our competitor, into a bad position, so they're forced to negotiate with us. Well, but negotiate for what? There's almost this belief that Google took what was rightfully theirs by competing with them, by saying to advertisers, here's a better deal, here's bigger audience, we take on the risk, here's all kinds of reasons why Google itself is making tons of money, is because Google knows how to do online and publishers don't.
This seems peculiarly European, right? I mean, I don't think anybody in the U.S., no publisher, well, Rupert Murdoch maybe, but no other publisher in the U.S. is saying, oh, I don't want to be on Google News. I think it's well understood the value of being on Google News, isn't it?
Well, it's the demonization of Google. It's Euro techno.
So this is almost anti-American or anti-corporate.
That's part of it, I think. Anti-corporate and anti-American both. I believe so. Yes.
Well, I mean, here people, publishers put up paywalls, right? If they don't want.
Yeah, but even the Wall Street Journal allows Google to go through the paywall.
Well, Murdoch took down links, and he cried uncle.
Yeah, he gave up.
Yeah.
And I think most other publishers, I mean, if you talk to CNET, The Verge, PC Magazine, all the people linked here, they're thrilled to be linked here. This is not a negative. Just as, TechMeme is even worse in this regard. You could make the case. I mean, TechMeme runs ads. TechMeme runs larger than they run a fairly big chunk of content. And this is a business for them. And nobody's complaining.
Right.
We all understand the value.
Because all these publishers understand how the web works, right? Like that's the difference.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, you could shut down TechMeme. I mean, this is an ad-supported service,
right there in the middle.
Yeah.
And indeed, you could learn things. I do learn things on TechMeme where I don't want to go through. Apple One iPod suit. I'm so tired of that story. That's all I kind of needed to know. I didn't want to.
You're right. I didn't click through on that.
Right. I was so tired of it. But the fallacy argument that's made is, you would have clicked through had it not been for that summary. No, the truth is I never would have clicked through. I never would have seen that story. If all it said was, here's an Apple story that's going to change your life, I wouldn't have clicked on it.
Right. Well, look, I guess that's the point, is that probably most people listening to this understand the value.
Yes. I
understand how, on a purely kind of theoretical basis, you could be, as a content creator, peeved. And this is, by the way, photographer, this is a very common argument. I've talked to many, many photographers who say, they're stealing my pictures. They're stealing my pictures. And I said, well, you really, you either put them on the internet and live with that or not. There's really no, middle ground. But I think it's worth putting your pictures on the internet because I look at people like Trey Ratcliffe, who gives away all his photos and makes plenty of money as a photographer, still selling them, selling prints, doing all the other stuff.
His generosity has been the key on Google Plus. Has been the key.
It's made him
to his growth.
It's made him.
Yeah.
So I know that, and I think the conversation is less common among photographers, but for a long time it was a very, and the record industry. I mean, you can go on and on. Every industry, first reaction to this is they're stealing my stuff.
Well, there's a difference, though, Leo, is that, and we conflate them in my industry the way we shouldn't. A photo, a novel, a sitcom, a song are unique performance art objects. A news story, the information inside a news story, and it's the information that's valuable, cannot be owned. Right. Copyright covers only the treatment. It doesn't cover the actual information. A society does not want anyone to own information or even, for that matter, own ideas. It's only treatment you can own in that sense. And we conflate that with entertainment industries and think we should be treated the same as Sopranos.
Right.
We write a news story, and we should.
Right.
So I've got a question for both of you. So Google is indeed, and I've learned this, trying to figure out how to help cooperative news publishers, especially in Europe. I think they shouldn't just do it in Europe. I think they shouldn't just do old publishers in old Europe. But that's another question. They're also looking at ways they can help news in general, which I think is the right thing to do. And I'm trying to write a post now, a long post, about what Google could do, or to put it my way, what could Google do for news? What would you guys, so if Google comes and says, all right, forget all this stupid fighting about this stupid stuff. We actually do care about an informed society. We do care about news. We do want to help. We do have power and smarts. Let's work with the people who are good and do that. What would you put on that list? What could Google do for news?
Well, I'm kind of an outlier on this because I don't think Google should be in the content business.
I'm not saying they should be in the content business. How could they help those who are?
Well, they do it with search. And I guess you could say Google News is a special example of search. It's kind of topic-based search, and you're not making the search. You're saying, what are the topics, and Google's telling you. I don't think that's really – I don't have a problem with that. I would hate to see Google say, in the public interest, we believe news should be – I don't want them to get in that business. And I know I'm an outlier, especially with you guys, but I don't believe Google should be in the content business at all. I don't think they should own YouTube.
No, I agree with that. They can't be. It's
but they are
at all.
I mean, YouTube is clearly content business. So
well,
I would like Google to stick with search and be a great search engine. I understand they feel like they need to plan for the future. Search won't always be the dominant.
Google's a platform, Leo. Like WordPress is a platform. Like Blogger is a platform.
Well, I think there's an inherent conflict of interest if you're a search engine and you produce content that may be the result of that search.
But they're not producing that content. They're the platform of people who do produce that content.
I see. So you're saying they're not, but now they are benefiting. It's like saying NBC doesn't produce the shows on NBC. Well, that's technically true, but that's a difference without a distinction. They're still running the ads and making the money off of those shows and paying them to be produced. Google has an even better. Google has an even better model. We won't even pay you. Just put your stuff here, and we'll give you a couple of bucks. If you give me ads.
Versus search, you don't get. Well, the publishers in Europe would say on search or Google News, we don't get anything for being listed. At least on YouTube, we have the chance to make some money.
Right.
Gina, what do you think?
So I think that Google has a vested interest in making meaning out of information, right, in order to serve its users. And so it's the knowledge graph and knowing the difference between Java the coffee and Java the computer language, and that's a dumb example, but figuring out what things are and what people mean and what people want when they search for things. All of those facts, all of the intelligence that Google gathers and figures out is based on material that's out on the web. So I mean, including news stories, right? So it's in Google's best interest. Like, the better the content that's out there, the better the product is for Google, the better, the world is, and they're accomplishing their mission, right? Making the world's information accessible to everyone. I think that the only thing that Google can do is continue to be a platform and build the tools that empower humans to put the best quality information out there. But it has, in a way, it really does have to be a partnership, right? Like, there has to be a way to make this to make this a viable business where reporters go out and shake down facts and do interviews and make calls and break the stories and write meaningful content that Google can then serve its users with, right? So, like, all that Google can do is continue to create better tools to help humans vet and fact check and help Google create meaning, help us all create meaning for one another.
I think Google's suffering from severe mission creep. If that's their goal, then they're going way beyond that goal. That mission has changed.
No, Leo, let me make very clear here. They're not thinking about this stuff as a business. They're thinking about this stuff as trying to make nice with at least people who are willing to be nice with them and try to help.
Right? So why does Google do Google News? That's a very interesting question.
Well, because I think it was Christopher Rott who said after 9/11, I can't get a good sense of an Uber view of news and what's going on, and I want a compilation. And so he just build it. It's a classic
Yeah.
engineer's way to look at the world. He had a problem and he solved it. That's simple.
That's how Google has creeped into other areas. Is they really do encourage their team to try stuff.
I mean, you make creep sound like it's a bad thing.
Here's why it's a bad thing, because if you're a search engine, you have a lot
But
of
who
power.
says they're limited to be a search engine? That's the point.
Well,
No.
well, if they want to be in the
Because that's what
search
you're
engine
born.
business, which they still do,
They want to be they want to be in the making information accessible business.
Yeah.
but the problem is, and I don't know if they're doing this or not, but I don't think we can know it, since they have things like platforms like Blogger, and they have content like YouTube, and they could easily prioritize their internal content in the search results. I feel that's a conflict of interest. Now, I think you've said that, well, and others have said, well, it's their company. Why can't they promote their own internal stuff in the search results?
Yeah, I do say that. And the example that the European publishers gave is they made a video about, go to Google, search for shoes. What do you see? You see ads on the top for Google's shoe advertisers. What do you see below that? You see everything else impossible in the world of shoes.
Yeah, I mean,
Now,
I don't have a problem with that. That's
But if I
how
go
they
to
pay
Built-
for shoes. The
if I go
search
to
engine.
Built,
Yeah.
which is one of the publishers is complaining,
Same
and
thing.
and there's a whole shoe section up
Right.
there, right? What do I get? I get nothing but Built. There's no obligation on Built, the largest paper in all of Europe, to link to their competitors or link to other advertisers or link to those who don't advertise to them. Zero, nada. Google does link to the whole world, and it pays for that by Indeed linking to advertising. And the only issue for me is it clearly labeled? And I believe it is. And in the now pulled back antitrust agreement with the EU or the EC, Google was going to label things they had interest in even more. They were going to guarantee links for outside, and they were going to make sure that guarantee that people could buy ads in this position, making them more money. And there was a settlement along that line, which Google was acceding to. But
Yeah, and I don't mean to imply that Google is using their power in search to favor their own content, because in fact it's pretty obviously they're not. If you search for Cuba videos, I get a C-SPAN video, I get a History.com video. Yeah. There's YouTube, a couple of them, but then there's Vimeo, Trip Films, CubaVideos.com. There were in this whole thing there are only 2 YouTube search results. So
go look for maps.
Pretty clearly they are, not doing the thing we're afraid of. There's a Google map right at the top of Google Map of Cuba Maps, but then World Atlas and the University of Texas and National Geographic. So no, I think it's pretty clear that they're making an effort to include other people's content. I just worry. I do feel like it is a conflict of interest, but I mean, I'm not accusing them of taking advantage of it yet, but I do feel like it's a conflict of interest.
This idea that they're building the tools. I mean, you listen. If I was a map maker looking at those search results right there, I mean, I think
we
maybe
get
I should
great
into the
benefits.
business.
We get great benefits from Google. Don't get me wrong. That's not the argument. That's not the argument at all. The argument is merely that, and this is the essence of monopoly. If a company uses this is why there's antitrust laws. If a company uses its monopoly in one sector to take over other sectors, to succeed in other sectors.
That behavior has to be demonstrated and proven.
But if they don't, right? I mean, the fact that they could do it isn't enough. I agree.
Is not sufficient. Absolutely not.
Right. But on the other hand, I do see Google getting into all these other related fields. So you wonder, well, what are they up to? Maybe it's just they're hedging their bets. No, it's pretty clear they're not. Although it's hard to prove they're not, because they say, well, we just put the results that are most popular there. We don't pay particular attention to our stuff, but they could be, and it would be hard to prove whether that was happening or not. Nobody knows how the algorithm.
But again, I think you have to agree that there's some level of them linking to their own properties that's perfectly legitimate.
Right, because they're a private company.
Like Time Magazine, put the other way, People Magazine promotes Time Magazine.
Right. Right. So then it would be up to me, and this is why monopoly is the important thing. Then it would be up to me as a user to go to some other search engine because, golly, Google stuff, they're just promoting their own content, and I don't want that. I want a objective search result. The problem is because they're a monopoly, where are you going to go? Bing? So that's the issue. That's why there's antitrust rules. Because once a company becomes a monopoly, then things that are completely okay to do if you only have a small percentage of the market are much more problematic.
That's why you watch them carefully, and that's
Right.
fine.
Yeah.
But you do not. But if they having a monopoly, becoming so huge because you were good,
It's not illegal
is
to be a
not
monopoly.
Illegal.
Not illegal to be a
It's
monopoly.
not illegal.
Now, I understand that in Europe, they are a considerably more dominant monopoly. Here, it's 70% of search
Which says a
results.
lot.
There, it's 90%. Well, maybe they're more concerned.
But it also says that the media coverage and government actions there are out of sync with the populace, who obviously like Google.
They want Google. Well, but okay, I'll say one more thing, and then we'll drop it. Just because people like the benefits of a dictatorship doesn't mean it's a good thing. That's not the only measurement of whether something should be allowed. Hey, I love our overlords at Google. They give me great value, great benefit. But that isn't the only criterion for judging
but
whether
you have to
they're-
have some trigger for action against.
I agree, and there
right?
is no, at this
But
point,
people
there's
reject
no
it.
evidence.
There's illegal behavior.
Yep.
There's none of that.
I agree. At this point, there is no evidence of illegal behavior, as far as I could tell. Some have asserted.
The only evidence is it's a big American company.
Right.
It is really important, though, and somebody in the chat room says, yeah, this isn't just any old monopoly. This is free speech. This is information. This is the potential for misuse is vast. So I don't think Google.
Well, but the
should-
misuse of power, Leo, was the Spanish government passing
I
a
agree.
law
I
putting the
agree.
tax on links. That was a far, far greater misuse of power affecting speech.
No, I agree. And we do have competition. There are other search engines.
Well, it looks like I'm just seeing from the New York Times editor Lydia Polgreen that Sony is pulling the interview.
Well, theaters have all day today because the hackers have threatened a 9/11 style action against theaters that run the movie. But this is a real mystery to me because the GOP, the people who are doing this hacking, and it's not the grand old party, it's the guardians of something, guardians of poo-poo. The hackers who did this don't look governmental. And the North Korean government said, hey, we didn't do this, but it is a righteous action. And yet they're pursuing exactly what some say were the goals of that would have been the goals of a North Korean hack, which is to get the interview, a movie that's unflattering. In fact, Kim Jong-un gets killed in this movie. Gets killed in this movie. So I could see why the North Koreans would be unhappy about that.
Yeah, well, but that's also free speech. Listen,
they don't have
Charlie
free
Chaplin
speech in
made a
North
great
Korea, dude.
Well, but they can't come in and change. But what they've done is they've created the lowest common denominator of free speech around the world because we're now living under North Korea's rules.
Yeah. So many theaters, in fact, most of the big theaters have said, hey, you know what? We're not going to run this. It's too dangerous. We don't want, I mean, I understand that. If you're a theater chain and these guys are saying we're going to create havoc in the theater if you run this movie, first of all, it ain't going to be a big money-making movie anyway, I don't think. So they just said, well, in that case, we've still got The Hobbit.
Now it might be. After all this,
people are going to want to see it.
Yeah, it's one of those experiences where all of the hubbub about it is going to attract people to it like flies.
The real truth is this hack is a mess. It could very well put Sony out of business. It's certainly going to put them out of the movie business. I think there's no doubt about that. There's now a class action lawsuit.
Why is it that bad? What's the actual business harm?
Nobody wants to do anything with Sony. Nobody wants to make a deal with Sony because of the risk that it will be revealed. Nobody wants to talk to Sony. No writer, no producer, no director, no movie star. Nobody wants to work for Sony. That's enough right there. Not to mention the class action lawsuit from Sony employees. I think this is a death blow to Sony.
What difference would encrypted email have made? What difference would encrypted email make?
This is a very big conversation, which we've had a couple of weeks running on security now. Ultimately, of course, it's possible to fully secure it, but it would be very difficult for Sony to do the kind of business it did in a fully secured environment. You can encrypt, you can silo, you can Need to know, you could say, for instance, we have here, there's a program called App Locker that you can run on Windows machines that whitelists apps to say, employee, you can't do anything that hasn't been approved by the IT department. And so those things are all very good for security, but they're kind of bad for business. And Sony made a conscious decision, perhaps wrongly, that it was more important that information flow freely for the various divisions than that they fully secure it. What I think they underestimated was the damage that could be done to the business should this particular thing happen. In any event, this is just the beginning. I mean, this is really a mess. It's very bad for Sony, I think. By the way, Sony itself, the company, is in deep financial straits anyway.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
I mean, it's not like this is a robust company that can fight back. The whole thing is the whole thing is a mess, and by the way, it's not at all clear if this was North Korea, if this was a disgruntled employee. There's evidence on both sides. So it's. You might see reports in the mainstream media that imply that we know more than we do. It's very hard to know who did stuff like this. In fact, the only time hackers really get caught, almost always, is because they boast about it. They go out in public and say, yeah, I did that. If a hacker's a smart guy or works for a government and keeps his head down, it's pretty hard. If he's any good, it's pretty hard. We don't even know how good the hack is because there's a complete news blockade on any information. The FBI's not talking, Sony's not talking. We don't know how they got in. We know more about the Target attack, for instance, than we do about the Sony attack.
Well, we know more about the Google attack. That was traced to the Chinese. Right?
Traced to in a hacker attack is very difficult. Unless somebody takes responsibility for it, it's very hard to know. In any event, one of the things Steve Gibson said is that, we've gone back and forth on this, but he said essentially, if whoever did this and had the skills to do this attacked almost any company in the United States, they would have the same success. And one of the reasons I feel that that's true is the story that came out last week that the Sands Casino was hacked by the Iranian government. The Iranians are very unhappy with its owner, Sheldon Adelson. Adelson is an outspoken supporter of Israel, has been very politically active, contributed huge amounts of money to the Newt Gingrich campaign in the last election cycle, and has really won the enmity of Iran. Looks like we lost Jeff. Well, I'll just finish the story.
Work on him.
Yeah, go ahead.
And so his casino was attacked. And this is the back-end operation, the thing that runs the slots, the thing that runs security cameras. The thing that you would, look, Sony may not have known diddly about security. There's a lot of evidence that they never did. But you got to think, an organization like the Sands Casino, big in Macau, big in Vegas, had the top security because that's guarding more than a bank. That's guarding everything. And it is an attack target. Everybody's hammering at them all the time. And they got hacked. So I guess the point is, even in a situation where you can presume that the security was top flight, top notch, they got in. And brought them down. It cost them millions, tens of millions of dollars.
So in pre-show, Leo, you were saying that you wouldn't discuss. You made an editorial decision.
Oh, let's take a break and we're going to talk about this.
Okay.
Because Jeff and I are going to get into it on this one. I have a feeling. And by the way, Steve agrees with you, Jeff. He thinks there's good reason that this information, the treasure trove of information, including movie star salaries, private emails.
Oh, I don't agree with that. I think there's a newsworthy test.
Okay, we'll talk about it in a second.
Because otherwise, if you say that theft makes the information invalid, then you've erased Chelsea Manning. And Edward Snowden.
No. And I don't want to erase Chelsea Manning, Edward Snowden, or the Pentagon Papers. There's plenty of cases where illegally obtained material has, because of the public will, the public right and need to know, but the public has no need to know how much Seth Rogen made to do the interview.
I agree.
Oh, well then.
Oh, boy, it's really interesting, though.
It's such bad gossip. It's like looking at the naked pictures of J-Law.
Yeah.
Don't do
It
it.
is.
Although I looked at those too. So
I didn't.
I got no standing on this one.
I did so well, and then I stumbled upon them accidentally, and I felt awful. Oh,
It's hard to turn away.
clicked on a hashtag that I hadn't recognized. I was like, oh.
Well, that's the problem with this, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I just feel, and so we editorially, I guess we're in this, so I won't do the Harry's ad quite yet. I edit unilaterally, but I do own the company, so I can make that decision. You said, I don't want it. We're not going to talk about the contents. Clearly, this hack is a big story for us. It's a technology story. It's huge. But I don't think there's any reason why we should talk about the content. Initially, I did a little bit like, hey, one factoid that I thought.
Well, the story on the rundown is, but the entertainment industry's strategy against or in favor of Sopa Pipa against Silicon Valley.
We'll talk about
that.
Sony's reacting in ways that I think are illegal or at least borderline illegal.
Well, but that's the contents. That's part of the contents of these documents. That's newsworthy to this show. So is that something that you wouldn't talk about?
No, we reported on that. I just wouldn't say.
Okay.
In fact, Steve gave a list of the kinds of information that was leaked out. I think that's fine. It's the information. It's fine for me to say naked pictures of Jennifer Lawrence were stolen. It's not fine for me to show them. Now, the news media didn't show them because there's limits on what you can do on TV. They would have loved to. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
So in this case, there's no nudity. So, of course, and I think it's very self-serving of most of them to say, oh, no, there's a public need to know on this. So let's talk about what the need to know is. There's lots of other news, including the Google changelog. This is going to be like an 8-hour show, though, if I don't do a commercial. Do it. Do you know there is a relationship between the commercials and the length of the show? The shortest show we can do is 3 minutes. All right. So this is Harry's. I love Harry's. You love Harry's too, I hear, Jeff.
I do love Harry's. Harry's is so good. And I'm not being paid to say this. The Leo does pay me a little bit.
But I'm not paying you to say that. You can say anything you want.
So, I use Harry's now that, frankly, my baby likes skin. I use the Harry's, first time I've done this, I use the Harry's razor with no lotion, no nothing, just the razor.
Well, you're a madman.
After I get out of the shower, I just swap the
And that is testament to Harry's. How many blades could you do that with? So Harry's bought the factory, and that's what I love. I think that's kind of the real story here. Harry's was started by a couple of guys who really felt like the old adage, you give away the razor and you make it up on the blades, isn't very nice to consumers. They felt like you deserve a good shave at a fair price. Razor blades from Gillette, $4 each. Harry's half that. But are they worse? No, they're better because Harry's actually bought their own German factory. They make their own blades from scratch, taking high-grade steel, grinding it, to sending it right to your door. There's no middleman. You are essentially buying the blades from the factory. And these are beautifully made blades. In fact, if you go to Harry's, HARRYS.com, you can see the whole story. They found out that there are only 2 factories in the world, both of them in Germany, that can make high-quality blades, and so they bought one of them. And the factory continues to make other kinds of things, but it produces millions of precision razor blades every year. And that means you're going to get great blades. In fact, they're doing research to make them even better, which I love. And you're going to get them at a very fair price, the actual cost. And they ship them to your door. Now, the best way to start Harry's is with a kit. And we've got some great Harry's kits. That's what we sent out to all of our hosts. This is the Harry's Winston kit, which is, how much is the Winston? The Winston is, I think, $20.
It's on the site for $25.
$25, but I'm going to give you $5 off. So $20. What do you get? You get the handle. Now, this is the less expensive. They have a nice metal engraved handle. You can get your initials on it. That's what I have at home. But this is Steve prefers this because it has a flat back, so you can really tell the orientation just by touch. I guess Steve shaves in the dark. You get this. You get 3 blades, 3 of these great Harry's blades. They're really remarkable. You get the Harry's shave cream, and they have a cream or a gel. I like the cream. This is the foaming shave gel. Just smell really good. By the way, they now have, if you like that scent, their aftershave lotion, too, to soothe your face after you shave. And don't overlook the travel protector. My first couple of Harry's kits, I just threw it out. I thought, oh, that's not important. It's very important. This is how you travel with your Harry's razor and blade so that you don't get cut. They put it in your DOP kit there. It dries out. It's got a little ventilation. This is like the best thing ever. Somebody in the chat room said, I bought 2 more kits so I get a couple more travel adapters. We're going to save you $5 off your first order. That means $20 for the kit. 3 blades, the handle, the travel protector, the shave cream. The Winston set is awesome. Take a look at that, too. That's see, that's $25. What's the Truman? Truman's like less.
Yeah, I think it is less.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
The
15.
Truman's 15. So you take $5 off, that's 10. 10.
I've got the Truman. I love it.
The Truman's great. $10. That's like 2 blades from Gillette. You get all of this. Just do me a favor. Just try that. You know, $10. What are you going to lose? And if you decide you like it, you can get the subscription plan and get your blades delivered to the door. I am up to my 3rd or 4th Harry's handle. I like having Harry's everywhere I go. Harry's, Harrys, the best shave you will ever have. Take $5 off. Use the offer code TWIG at purchase. So you don't disagree. We don't disagree. What information? Now, see, Steve Gibson said, okay, here is the public's right to know on this leaked information. If we don't show the pain, we don't talk about all the things the hackers learned in detail, then no one's going to learn this lesson, and other companies are going to fall in the same way.
I think they're going to learn.
I think they learned their lesson.
That's a good.
If you still think it's okay to get hacked, I don't think you're paying attention, and it doesn't matter what we report. But you agree, there's no reason James Franco's salary is. There's no public interest in knowing that. There's gossipy interest.
Well, yeah, there's interest by gossip sites.
Right.
Yeah, but that isn't. No, that isn't necessarily.
Aaron Sorkin said, "You're helping the Sony hackers if you print that stuff," and you are. Really, you're helping them achieve their aims.
You're feeding the trolls.
You're feeding the trolls. Trolls, by the way, won in this case because the interview has now been canceled.
And it's now been canceled.
If that was actually their goal. See, I don't know if that was actually their goal. Aaron Sorkin has a little bit of a dog in this hunt because he, of course, wrote the Jobs movie. And our good friend, and I love her, Christina Warren, film girl, wrote a very long piece for Mashable in which she, using emails she found in the hacked trove of data, told the whole story of the Jobs movie that Aaron Sorkin wrote, the ins and outs, the ups and downs, and why Sony eventually passed on it, which is of great interest, especially to our audience who was interested in the movie. But I don't think we didn't report this data, and I don't think I ever will report this data. I don't want to support the hack. I think it's stolen material.
But you know, Leo, I do get torn somewhat. I mean, I'm a journalist, and so I love a scoop, but it's not just a scoop. It's the idea. We go back to the right to be forgotten issue. Is that my fear is that if what if somebody tried to pass a law to say that if you did reveal this information, that itself is a crime? We don't believe in that. Otherwise, every leak and every whistleblower leak to a journalist would then become illegal by the precedent. So I think we have to be careful about how we regulate this, not to regulate it. But it goes back to a question of us negotiating new norms. It's wrong to, and I said this on the show some months ago. I saw the beginnings of a new norm and people saying on their own, it's wrong to share and wrong to look at the beheading videos. It's wrong to share and wrong to look at Jennifer Lawrence photos. And now I'm hearing people say, with some debate, it's wrong to share and wrong to look at the Sony leak material, unless there is public interest. And so we're trying to negotiate a new norm of behavior around this.
Now, there is some information that might have public interest. For instance, the way Sony looked the other way in cases of sexual harassment and so forth. And those things have been...
Or the campaign about Sopa Pipa, I think, is legitimate public interest.
They used the code word Goliath to describe Google. They saw Google as the enemy, much as the Spanish publishers do. And because Google was apparently, you could search Google for BitTorrent links. And so they did a lot of stuff to try to shut down Google. So you're right. That is newsworthy. I think that there's a right to know that.
Okay, so we actually all do agree then.
Yes.
And the difference between this and the Snowden leak is that Snowden leaked to a trusted journalist who would and just release bits and pieces of the things that, I mean, Snowden redacted or held back a lot of stuff, right?
It makes you really appreciate what he did, doesn't it?
Well, what he did, what he
trusted
did
Glenn
was
to do that.
He gave it to the journalist and said, it is your job to do that. Yeah. Assange off and on has done that. But it said that there is a role of redaction and responsibility, and expected that's the role of journalists.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is kind of that link baity world we live in now, where anything goes as long as you get clicks. And there's a lot of people who are practicing as journalists who aren't really thinking about the larger picture.
Amen, and that's the business model. The business model is an old mass media business model: reach and frequency, unique users and page views, clicks for the sake of clicks. And unless we have metrics and business models built around quality, we are doomed to go down into the sewer. I couldn't agree more. But I do see hope for new business models, and that's part of what I think I want Google to invent. Right? That if you want to help news, Google, invent new business models, because hell, you've invented them before, that encourage quality rather than just clicks.
Now, this was a big test for Nick Denton, by the way, Gina. And it kind of went both ways, because on the one hand, they did do some actual, Gawker had some actual reporting, some good stuff. But they also took this as an opportunity to talk a lot of gossip. A lot of gossip.
Yes.
So I mean,
it depends what your definition of newsworthy is, right? I mean, this is this is what it is.
They were doing great stuff on Ferguson. They were really starting to do some really good reporting. And then they have a story on how much pizza Jennifer Lawrence ordered when she was hanging out with her new beau. And so it's like, oh, I don't know.
There isn't. I didn't see that one. There isn't harm in that. I actually do think that there's harm in people looking at her photos. But the pizza thing, I mean, I don't know. So much of this depends on the publication, right? About the pizza thing? Well, I don't know. I don't.
No, the pizza doesn't come. The pizza comes from a source, not from the leaked material itself.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I apologize, Nick. That was a legit gossip story. He says, tomorrow's news is today's gossip. Or something.
At the bottom of Google, I just put up the Sony statement.
Wow. I still don't know if it's clear. I mean, it feels like the hackers have taken this opportunity to look like they're North Korea, but I still don't feel like they are. Here's the Sony statement. Sony says, we respect and understand our partner's decision. Oh, here it is. In light of the decision by the majority of our exhibitors not to show the film The Interview, we have decided not to move forward with the planned December 25th theatrical release. We respect and understand our partner's decision and, of course, completely share their paramount interest in the safety of employees and theatergoers. Sony Pictures has been the victim of an unprecedented criminal assault against our employees, our customers, and our business. Those who attacked us stole our intellectual property, private emails, sensitive and proprietary material, and sought to destroy our spirit and our morale, all apparently to thwart the release of a movie they did not like. We are deeply saddened at this brazen effort to suppress the distribution of a movie and in the process do damage to our company, our employees, and the American public. We stand by our filmmakers and the right to free expression and are extremely disappointed by this outcome.
So I just tweeted Sony, if you put this up online, I pledge right now I will pay to watch it, no matter how bad it is.
Interesting.
Just to make a point. Yeah. It feels like this is an opportunity for them to distribute this movie digitally, right? And everyone will want to watch it.
Do you think really this is the North Korean government that did this hack as the guardians of peace? Doesn't feel like it. Feels like this is some 18-year-old slob sitting in his apartment in Bucharest.
With terabytes and terabytes of data?
Oh, sure. Nowadays, that's no big deal.
Yeah. Let me ask you a bigger question, Leo. Is any business safe? You said people don't want to do business with Sony. Well, why would they want to do business with any company? Any company is vulnerable.
Well, I suspect
we don't even know how this was done.
One of the side effects of this will be to, and we were talking about this with Steve, will be to move us back to a pre-internet era where most of the kinds of secure conversations that you want to keep secure will be done either on the phone or in person. And you're not going to.
Oh God, I got to get a fax machine.
Yeah, you're not going to commit it to email. By the way,
Right,
I'm now being told that I need to apologize to Romania. I'm sorry, Romania.
I thought you said Bulgaria.
I said Bucharest.
Oh, okay, right.
It's just a city with a funny name, folks. It's not. And Gardner, are you in Romania, or you just decided to be a policeman to the world? Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, what could Sony done differently? They could have used. They could have not.
They could have encrypted the email, which means that it's hard to forward, right? And of course, as the way it works in Hollywood, as you can even see if you look at these emails, there's a lot of stuff is circulated to larger groups and stuff. That's not going to work.
Oh, hold on right there, Leo. I never thought of that. It's obvious, and I think you just presumed it. But some of them like me, if you encrypt email, it's hard to forward.
It's 1-to-1.
Duh, right. Oh, wow.
So there's certainly things you can do, but in every case, and this is what Steve's always talking about, there's you trade-off between security and convenience. And Sony decided, I think consciously, it's more important that we be able to do our business, than that it is that we secure our stuff. After all, how bad could it be? And unfortunately, we now know how bad it could be. But honestly, if you think about it, the reason this movie is being canceled has nothing to do with the hack. The reason this movie is being canceled is because somebody, maybe even somebody different, has threatened the movie theaters that if they release it, there will be a 9/11 style incident. It's like a bomb threat. Has nothing to do with the hack. Might not even be the same people. No, it doesn't. Anybody could have done this. That actually could be the North Koreans going, hey, here's our chance.
Okay, but now let's pull it further. So now let's say Sony says, okay, we'll put it online. What does Apple say? We're going to sell it on iTunes. Apple's going to say, yeah, no thanks. What's Amazon going to say? You're gonna
Nobody's going to want it. It's
no thanks.
It's just a movie.
What's the one way you can distribute this? BitTorrent.
BitTorrent. Mm-hmm.
By the way, one of the things the GOP, the hackers did is they put BitTorrent, they turned the Sony servers into BitTorrent servers for the movies. So, you're not the only one arguing for this, by the way. This is
you shouldn't laugh.
No. Hey, so an interesting story, associated story with Reddit. Sony sent a DMCA to Reddit. Reddit was publishing in one of its subreddits, or several of its subreddits, contents from the email trove. Sony sent a DMCA takedown request, and Reddit agreed, and they took it down.
Reddit had to agree.
They didn't have any choice, right?
Yeah.
Now they're starting to ban users who are sharing Sony hack documents. Reddit is mainstream media. Let's not forget they were bought by Condé Nast. I guess Condé spun them off, but there's still some association, right?
But creep shots of teenage girls, those are totally okay.
No problem. But so discussion and news stories regarding the hack will still be allowed throughout the site, but Sony has been sending notices warning of legal action against the posting of information discovered by the hacked documents. So in theory, they could send us one if we had started talking about the contents as well. That's not why I didn't. And I actually don't celebrate these heavy-handed techniques from Sony. I sympathize, but
it's a weird news day.
It's a weird. This is a weird story.
Opens up. FARC declares a truce. North Korea, by some accounts, gets a movie killed.
It is wild, isn't it?
You
know what? I want to cheer everybody up. Let's do the Google changelog right after this word about my shoes. You want to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, we haven't sent you any Jack Irwins yet. But you're a professor. You don't walk into class wearing sandals with socks, right?
I have weird feet.
Oh, what do you mean weird?
You really want to know?
No, I don't. Really
Yeah, no, we're good. We're good.
We're good. That's
Around here
TMI.
by your prostate, I think.
Yeah, that was the limit, right, Gina?
Yeah. No, I'm good.
Finally, we can know about your colon, but your feet, no. So shoes, they say, make the man. And I have to say, there are times when having a nice pair of shoes on your feet is going to help you on a date, at a Christmas party, when you're talking to the boss for a raise, when you're talking to venture capitalists for funding. You don't want to be wearing the tenny runners. You want to be wearing some nice shoes. Yes, these are comfortable. Don't feel like you're going to be hobbling around. These are beautiful. You know what? The real problem is you're going to wear these and you're never going to want to wear anything else. These are Jack Irwins. Now, normally shoes like these, handmade in Spain, of the finest leathers from the traditional leather craftsmen in France and Italy, hand-sewn uppers, hand-sewn lowers, leather soles. Normally shoes like these would cost you a pretty penny. You get them about a third of the cost at jackerwin.com because they sell direct to you. Although, you New Yorkers, they have a showroom in New York, in Soho. You might want to stop by. These are beautiful shoes. Or just go to Jack Irwin, JACKERWIN.com/twit, and you can see our pics. I have been loving these Jack Irwin shoes. They're, I want to warn you because people are going to say, oh, it's $200. No, but that is for a shoe of this quality. I know you've only been wearing Nikes with $140. So you pay a little more, but these are all leather. These are beautiful. They last forever. Every pair of Jack Irwin shoes comes with a second pair of insoles made in Portugal and a beautiful travel bag. You can carry your Jack Irwins in your suitcase without fear of damage. I love my Jack Irwins. If you do order one size smaller than you do usually. If you're a size 10, order a size 9, because all Jack Irwin shoes are made one size larger so that you have a skosh more room. If you've never had a great pair of shoes, you owe it to yourself to have a great pair of shoes from Jack Irwin. They have driving moccasins, too. I'm going to get those for myself for Christmas. jackerwin.com/twit. The best shoes you've ever worn. And by the way, if you don't like them, shipping's free and it's easy to return them. They'll pay the shipping. jackerwin.com/twit. Don't buy cheap. It's too expensive, said Grandpa. Right?
They sure are spiffy. They're spiffy looking.
They're not. Oh, Gina.
They are spiffy looking.
Gina. These are great shoes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Google Changelog.
The Google Changelog.
Gina Trapani has the latest from Google.
New feature on your Chromecast. Your friends can come over and cast your Chromecast without connecting to your Wi-Fi first.
Damn it!
It's called guest mode. Yes,
Get off my Chromecast.
I know the Engadget headline is that guest mode lets anyone commandeer your TV. It's not quite as aggressive as all that. This is opt-in, of course. If you want to enable guest mode on your Chromecast, you can open up the Chromecast app and you tap devices and you select your Chromecast and you turn on guest mode, and then anybody can walk in and cast
so you have to enable
video.
It. That's good.
You have to enable it. Yeah, exactly. But nice for the holidays, Yeah. Throw some YouTube videos up on the TV, Relatives TV.
I've been doing so much Chromecasting lately. I love it.
Yeah, Chromecast is great. It's still my main media.
That's how I watch YouTube now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Me too. I love it. Let's see what else we got.
Watch the interview.
I'm going to watch the interview on my Chromecast.
Yeah.
It looks like can I just say it looks like a terrible movie?
Oh, it looks awful. I was trying not to say that because that's not the point.
Not the point.
But it looks terrible.
I tell you it is the point in a way, because if this were The Hobbit, I don't think there would be that rush to not run it. But anybody.
Well, the Neighbors was just awful. I went to see. Did you see The Neighbors?
No, I hear.
Oh no, that also looked terrible.
The End of the World movie they made. Oh my God, was it bad? So It's like that.
It's not the point, though. It's not the point.
It's not the point.
Not the point.
It's art. It's art. Let's see what else we got. Oh, Inbox, the app that I'm dying to use my Google Apps account. Google, I know you're listening. They got a little new feature in Assists. So they've got this feature called Assists, which helps you, gives you kind of contextual information as you enter reminders into Inbox. Well, Assists are getting a new kind of boost to suggest as you type based on what you're entering. So, for example,
I just got that. It just got
you
updated.
just get it. It's really cool. So it's killing me because I really want to use Inbox on my on a daily basis. So if you tap Compose, you say I'm going to start a reminder. I start to type the word return, and the assists actually start to autofill items that I had just ordered from Amazon and had just been shipped to me. So it's amazing. It's really smart. Personal contextual information saying like, oh, I want to return this thing I just ordered. It works with local businesses. It works with calling people, remind me to email Jeff about lunch next month, which we have to do, Jeff, and it'll fill it in and put Jeff's contact information. You'll know it's an assist when there's a little icon in the suggest as you type drop down. Jeff, did I cut you off? Did you have a question?
No, I was just making a joke that we're going to hear immediately. This wonderful new feature is creepy.
Yeah. It's the most convenient creepy thing you'll ever see. Hangouts in Gmail got updated. You can now set a status message. So if you log into Gmail on the desktop and you turn on Hangouts, you can click on your name and you can set your status to whatever you want. Happy holidays, I'm available, I'm out walking the dog, whatever. And I think you can also use emoticons and stickers as well. I think I saw that in some of the examples. So people will see your status in their friends list. A couple of Google Drive updates. You can now share Google Drive files through Gmail as attachments and not those share links where, you use the wrong Gmail address for the person and they say, I don't have access. And can you give me access? It's all complete pain. You can now share the Google Drive files and it just attaches it to the Gmail and sends the whole file through email when you select the insert as attachment option from Google Drive. So that's handy.
Yay.
Because I love Google Drive and I love sharing, but I also have a couple of Google accounts and people always share to me and using the wrong one. Next up, the Google app on Android has voice search for Google Drive. So you can say, okay, Google, search for a certain file name on Drive, and you'll get the file without opening the app or typing keywords. Google Fit got an update that brings 100 new activities to the app. So Google Fit can automatically detect if you're walking or biking. Now you can manually enter activities like skiing, skating, biathlon, volleyball, circuit training, boxing, cricket, dancing. So when you go to the gym, you can hop right into Google Fit and have that be your kind of one-stop shop of all your activities. Of course, manual entry. Not the most convenient thing in the world, but nice if you want to use Google Fit for everything. And another upgrade to Google Fit, the Google Fit app is new Android Wear support. So Google's still calling things experimental here, but your smartwatch will measure your step count when it's not connected to your phone, and the watch will remember and sync it up to your phone and the Fit history the next time that it reconnects. So that's really nice if you want to go for a run without carrying your big phablet. And finally, Google for Android and iOS got updated with Nest integration. So you can now set the temperature of your home through Google Now. You can say, of course, if you have a Nest and you have it set up and you've opted in, on your mobile device, you can open the Google app or tap the mic and say, okay, Google, set the temperature to 70 degrees, and your Nest will do that. If you try that search right now and you don't have it set up, it will say, it'll give you a prompt that says this works with Nest, and you can tap through and actually configure your Nest to work with that. So, it obviously doesn't work unless your Nest is, unless you've opted in and your Nest is set up. And that's it. That's all I got.
And that is the Google changelog.
Well, a few updates since while we were away at the changelog. One is that Deadline reports that a Steve Carell new Regency thriller set in North Korea has now been canceled.
Oy.
Newt Gingrich tweets, quote, "No one should kid themselves. With the Sony collapse, America has lost its first cyber war. This is a very, very dangerous precedent."
Yeah, I wonder if this is cyber warfare. I wonder.
Well, it kind of doesn't matter because the weapons of cyber warfare aren't necessarily in the hands of government, and so anybody can declare war.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So it doesn't really matter if this is North Korea.
In this future era, the power of government diminishes immensely because whether you're anonymous or Occupy or GOP or whoever, you have tools at your hand that you don't need to be a government to have anymore.
Wow.
Not saying that anonymous or Occupy or anybody is equivalent or doing that or anything else. I'm just saying that. Okay.
I can imagine a very ugly future where this kind of stuff is just going on all the time. It could have been worse, though. They could have attacked the power grid or something. I mean, it's just Sony Pictures. Let's get this straight.
It's just Seth Rogen.
Just Seth Rogen
yeah,
and
it's
James
Seth Rogen. Brian Bishop at the Verge just put up a piece. Why Sony Pictures should release the interview online. Not even North Korea can stop the internet. Yeah. It does kind of feel like at this point the only way we can prove.
We need to invoke the Streisand effect.
Yeah, just get.
I'm serious. How? If you're Apple, are you going to come along now and say with stores in every mall, say, okay, we'll put the movie up on iTunes? No.
No, BitTorrent. You said it, BitTorrent.
Well, then you don't make any money on it.
Well, that's
at this point, I think they should just release it for download for free. Everybody gets to watch it.
Yeah, this is how you screw North Korea. You say, well, good. More people are going to see this now.
Well, here's the thing. I wonder is what's because there was an interesting discussion just on Twitter, Leo, because I said I wonder who holds the insurance on the movie and what clauses are being invoked.
Oh, that's interesting.
And somebody said, well, there's usually a terrorism exception. Well, that goes to your point. Is this terrorism in an insurance sense?
Well, and usually insurance is a completion bond. The movie was completed. I don't know if they have insurance for this.
I wonder.
Oh, interesting. Well, all I can say is that hacker in the basement in Bucharest has now moved to Budapest. Take that.
Where our ambassador said the new head of government is a schmuck.
No.
In trouble for that.
I'm going to be in Budapest in June. Please don't cause problems with Budapest.
Yeah, well, there's some issues there.
The Year in Search 2014. Now, this is a happy, bright, upbeat story.
Yeah, this is good.
Google does this every year, right? Do they still do Zeitgeist? Is that now? Is this replace that?
Yeah, I think this was kind of a part of it.
Every year they say we reflect on moments that made us laugh, smile ear to ear, or stay gripped to our screens in our annual Year in Search, ladies and gentlemen. In 2014, we searched trillions of times. What do these searches say about us? We search for hope. Malala, Nobel Prize winner. Fear. Science. More than fiction. That's fiction, by the way, the hoverboard. We search for things we love. Pharrell, House of Cards, Game of Thrones, Nicki Minaj, and for greatness. Sochi. We search to make sense. Oh, wow.
Here's what gives us hope. The world knows how to fight this disease.
Ferguson, Ebola.
Yeah.
Search to remember. Joan Rivers, Maya Angelou, Robin Williams. We search to be inspired. This is really just an ad. I love this dancing guy.
That's true.
Yeah.
And there's Benedict Cumberbatch getting doused with ice water, and that's what I've been waiting for.
Did you hear those words?
You know, this reminds me a lot of, and we spent some time talking about it on Twit, the YouTube year-ender, the Rewind, which really celebrated all the YouTube stars. This is really, this is the things we searched for, but there are many viral videos in there, and
this is the old person version. Like, I recognized everything in this one.
I had no idea who those YouTube stars were. I actually had to ask a 12-year-old. Michael knew. He knew at least half of them. He said, oh, yeah, that's the, no, yeah, that's the. And I only knew Jai Justine was the only one I knew. So here are the top global searches of 2014. Robin Williams, #1. World Cup, #2. Ebola, #3. MH370, the Malaysian Airlines flight, they still haven't found.
Even Google can't find it.
Even Google
Sorry.
can't search for that one. ALS, the Ice Bucket Challenge. This year. That was the thing of the year, wasn't it? Flappy Bird made it to the top 10. Number 6, Flappy Bird.
That was this year? I guess it was.
Yeah, Conchita Wurst, the winner of the Eurovision Song Contest. ISIS. And I hope people weren't searching for beheading videos, but somehow I feel like they were. Frozen, the Disney movie, and finally Sochi. So that's a pretty good mix of the big, this is all done programmatically, but those are the big stories.
Yep.
Those really are the big stories. And then they have a nice little page at google.com/2014 that you can scroll through. Here, we'll go there. I like it when they do this. I really do. This is fun. What is La Décima? Touchdowns, knockouts, trophies, Formula One royalty. And this is very global, right? Because Formula One, it's big worldwide, U.S. less so. Verdicts that grip the world. Jared Leto into Instagram.
Not sure how Jared Leto made it here, but okay.
Why? What? Okay.
I don't know.
And by the way, that's a Facebook property, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that just you see?
Yeah,
They're
right there
not
and there.
bad.
They don't mind. Conchita
Wurst.
The man who rose like a phoenix. Are you supposed?
Did you ever watch?
I didn't.
You know who that is?
Yeah, she won the Eurovision Song Contest, but is she a man or?
Exactly.
I don't understand. I'm confused. But that's pretty much my life nowadays.
Did you ever watch Conchita Wurst?
No. I mean, I think I might have seen a video. Yeah. Oh, there she is. That's Tom Newers.
His stage persona.
He created a character. So it is a guy. He's not transgender.
Yeah, it is.
He's a guy who has a character.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, I honestly hadn't heard of this at all until this.
Her most searched beauty secrets beard is number 1 by a long shot. The world wanted more. The beard is a statement to say that you can achieve anything, no matter who you are or how you look. That's why I'm growing a beard.
I'm gonna just stop tweezing.
No more tweezing.
No more tweezing. I can be who I want to be.
Anyway.
That was probably more than you wanted to know.
No, not at all. All right, what else? Vessel, a YouTube rival. Who cares? YouTube. Who cares?
I agree.
Who cares? There are no YouTube rivals.
The model is that you get the videos 3 days early, then they go up on YouTube, and you're going to pay for that privilege. I don't.
Oh, that'll work.
Yep.
Okay, so now here is a kind of cool thing, and I hope they roll this out for everybody. This is you can make an animated GIF, but it's only on a couple of channels right now. So do we know how to do this? We go to share. How do I make an animated GIF? This is the channel, the Rhett and Link channel. Good Mythical Morning. But suppose maybe I don't have. Oh, there it is. GIF. So you pick.
Oh, this is cool.
This is good. This is good, and you can see what the GIF's going to look like.
This is how videos. Yeah, this is how some twit stuff.
Yeah,
so now you have to make a lot of silly faces.
I'm good with that. I don't mind. Okay, let's do some. Let's do some. Yeah, let me just show me here. Okay, there's a couple for you. Just gave him some faces to work with.
There you go. Let's just
Jeff, it's your turn.
My nose. You know what I have to do? I just said it. Leistungsschutzrecht.
Yeah. I don't think there's audio on these. Maybe there is.
That's okay because they'll do the
read my lips.
Yeah, exactly. They'll do the words on the screen thing. There we go.
Yeah,
all right,
exactly.
Gina, you got to get one.
People seem to really like when I'm like.
That's good.
People are always like, "Oh,
that's
Gina,
good."
People like when I'm like. Oh.
Very good, Gina.
So there we go.
Start
That'll be
turn.
my head shake.
I want to find the one. Oh yeah, here we go. The Kate Middleton eye roll. They had this on the Daily Show. So I guess she was wrapping gifts in New York City,
Oh no.
And she'd had enough. She is a princess.
This is great.
And and the woman at the gift wrapping station says, "No, you're not done. Wrap more." And Kate Middleton gave her quite an eye roll there. Watch it. What? Whoa. What? Whoa.
That's a good one. That's
Duchess of York throwing some shade, baby. God, I love that. That's an animated GIF.
Isn't that great? Makes me like her even more.
She's a real princess. She apparently does this a lot. I don't know. Anyway, so that's you can now, at least on Good Mythical Morning of the Idea channel, according to this article from Sean Buckley and Engadget, or maybe it was from Gizmodo, or maybe it was from Wax Pancake, Andy Bio. Yeah, I guess it was.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool.
While we're talking about gifts, I have to plug Adam Pash, who was my co-editor at Lifehacker. He does and then I was like.co. You can use your webcam and make a GIF of yourself.
That's his? I love that.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Oh, we showed that a couple of months ago. I love that.
Yeah, I had to bring that up again because it's a great. It's an easy way to do your own eye roll.
It's called And Then I Was Like
.co.
.co.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like .co.
And I was like.
And then I was like. So I don't think we have it yet on our. No, we don't have it yet on our Twitch channels. But you'll see a share embed. When you click the share link, share embed email, and then you'll see GIF or GIF. Depending
Google, please enable.
Please enable. It is getting out there on more and more channels. Do we care about the top apps, movies, and music of 2014? I'm sure you talked about the apps on All About Android, right?
Yeah, we did. Well, we talked at least about Google's list.
Yeah, I'm not sure we talked about this one specifically.
Oh.
They had a section on the Play Store a few weeks ago that was like our favorite apps of the year, but I don't know if that's pulling from the same list.
These are,
I see. They did
like their official top.
Best stuff of the year.
Best stuff of the year. Most downloaded apps. Duolingo in education, MyFitnessPal in health and fitness, Pandora in music, Flipagram in photography, Facebook and social, Netflix in entertainment, NFL mobile and sports, and TripAdvisor in travel. The year's fastest growing app category, health and fitness. And the top games of 2014 won't surprise you much either. Candy Crush Saga, #1. Then Don't Tap the White Tile, which is a lot of fun.
Flappy Bird isn't on here.
Yeah, neither.
Farm
Monument
Heroes
Valley.
Saga.
I would have guessed that would have made
Subway
it.
Surfers and Clash of Clans. Play games users unlocked 3.5 billion achievements this year. Nice. Top movie of the year, Frozen. This is purchased on the Google Play Store. The Walking Dead, the top TV show. The comeback movie, The Toy Story, and the most searched actor on Google Play, of course, Robin Williams. Album of the year, the motion picture soundtrack from Frozen. Clearly, a lot of parents use Google Play. Song of the year, Dark Horse by Katy Perry. Song of the summer, You're So Fancy, Iggy Azalea. I'm so fastest growing genre soundtracks fueled by Frozen, Guardians of the Galaxy, Despicable Me 2, The Lego Movie, and The Great Gatsby soundtracks. This is one for you, Leitzungschutzrecht. The news sources of the year. New York Times was number 1.
Followed by
TMZ, number 2.
Yeah, Jesus.
Forbes now number 3.
Well, at least BuzzFeed's not there.
It isn't. The Verge.
Which actually has some legitimate journalism.
Beast.
That surprises me.
Journal, Gizmodo, Android Central. The most read article of 2014, Flavor Pill, 15 90s teen heartthrobs who have resurfaced on TV.
What?
Well, 3 of them are listicles.
What is happening?
3 of them are listicles. Then Mental Floss, 50 more awesome facts about everything. Then Market Watch, 10 most miserable cities in America. House, which I really like. I'm glad to see it's getting some traction. Bathroom workbook. How much does a bathroom remodel cost? Now we're talking. That's the news you can use. And finally, the Verge Awards, the best of CES 2014.
There's no Iraq there.
Nope. Book of the year, The Fault is in Our Stars. That's a young adult that was made into a movie. 50 Shades of Grey, that's an old adult that was made into a movie. Divergent, that was a young adult that was made into a movie. 12 Years a Slave, that was just depressing, but true.
Yep.
And Insurgent, which I don't remember. So there you go.
Is 50 Shades a movie yet?
No, soon to be a major
Soon to
motion
be.
picture.
Okay.
Despite the crap casting. Now, North Korea, if you tried to block that, I wouldn't get in your way. No, I'm joking.
The S&M army will come after it.
Just want to make sure we don't miss anything. That's a sad story, the 1+1 story out of India. But I'm sure you talked about it all about Android. The Cyanogen Mod did a deal. Terrible. An exclusive deal with another company. And
Micromax.
Micromax is now complaining about OnePlus sales in India, and they've halted them. Terrible.
Oh, man.
That sucks. Nexus 5, what is going on there? Is Google going to continue to sell that? Apparently so. They are a limited number in stock, but they are saying we're going to continue to sell it until early 2015. This because a lot of people who want a Nexus phone say, I'm not buying that giant whale of a phone.
Right. It's their small phone.
Well, further, if you try to buy the darn thing on the Play Store, you can't still.
Yeah. Is it still? Is it out of stock?
Yep,
what do they say?
Right now, it's still out of stock.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was fueling rumors and
that they weren't going to do it.
That they just were stopping altogether. And basically Google saying no.
Nexus 6.
Oh, the
You can't buy
6
the
you
Nexus
still can't
6.
get. Well, can I just share a little problem? Just a word of warning about the Nexus 6. It's very easy to root. Of course, you can easily unlock the bootloader and root it. I found a one-step root and unlock. But remember, Google, and I am really questioning this decision, but they decided they wanted to do an Apple, make it hard for law enforcement to see what's on your phone, so they have encrypted this phone. Remember, if you've used Android before, you know that after the fact, you can go in the settings and say, if you're giving it a PIN, you have to give it a PIN or a password. I want to encrypt it from then on. This comes encrypted, which caused me a bit of a hassle now because I've rooted it, and I have a special recovery. I've got twerp recovery on here. And I got 501 this morning. I was so excited. By the way, I got it on the watch too, Jason.
Yeah, I got my notice, but it's not charged up yet. So
Me neither. Too low. Damn, that's
Killer.
This is the one moment out of every, all the days in the year where I regret the fact that I can't just plug any micro USB into this. It's the only moment. Otherwise, the wireless charging.
I have two Qi chargers in my office that work.
Well, there we go. I might
You can put it on the Qi chargers in there.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
That's a nice thing about the Moto 360 is it supports Qi.
Yeah, which I love.
So that weird cradle is a standard Qi charger, and you have to position it carefully. But if you position it just right,
perfect,
you can charge the watch on any Qi charger. Good news.
Excellent.
However, I was talking about this, and I'm screwed because I rooted it, and now it's in order to install 501. Twerp is saying, "Well, what's the password for the encryption?" I don't know. I didn't give it a password.
Oh man.
No, it's not your Google account password. It's nothing.
Well, that was what I was trying to joke before. Try to imagine what Google's own password is.
Maybe it is. Actually, I didn't try my Google account password. I should try it. I shouldn't say it's not. Did they use a password when they encrypted it? They must have, right?
Larry Page.
Paging Larry Page. Dr.
World
Fine.
domination.
Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine. CNN's list of 28 internet acronyms. Have you been studying this? Every parent should know. Gina, you need to know these.
Oh, I'm scared.
Ed is going to be a teenager any day now.
Oh, God, please.
So,
please. I got time. Oh, God. No.
This is a great article by Amy Graff on the San Francisco Chronicle's website, SF Gate, in which she debunks this bogus list from CNN of 28 internet acronyms every parent should know. She did the research. She looked them up on Urban Dictionary. These kids aren't using these. IWSN, I want sex now. GNOC, get naked on camera. CU46, CU for sex.
That's it. We're going Amish. I can't. No.
No one, THOT, that hoe over there. No one uses these. These are made up. Sugar
Yeah,
pick.
they are, right? This is not.
This is
This
CNN.
is not okay.
This is some old fart at CNN that found a 1997 acronym dictionary and thought it'd make a good clickbait. This is not true. Don't worry about it. Not true. And she debunks it quite nicely. CNN has no idea. This is a line from Stephen Grabowski, who is her 24-year-old cousin, but also a staffer at a New York magazine called Relics, which is a music festival, a youth culture magazine. He says, CNN has no idea what sexting is, but they're pretty sure it has something to do with acronyms. I love it. Anyway, don't worry, Gina. The kids are not having sex.
Thank you, Amy Graff.
Yeah, that's a great article. Nice job, Amy. So I've rebooted this thing now, and now it's because foolishly I wiped it, so now I have to start all over again.
Yeah, you're starting fresh. You know,
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you just start fresh? And
I'm hoping that I will have
zip in your kick.
I'm hoping I'll have 501 on here. That would be really depressing if I wiped it and there's still no. Well, I'll let you know. Any other story before we get to our last ad and our tip, pick, and number of the week?
Little update. So Jake Tapper, the most over-the-top tweet I think I've seen in ages. Jake Tapper of ABC.
I like him normally.
I normally do. His tweet is, "We are all Seth Rogen."
Oh no.
Oh,
that's horrible.
No, we're not. We're really not.
No, we're not.
We're all. Okay.
Seth Rogen called his dealer, man, and he's getting a lot of weed right now.
I can't breathe, man. Do you think there'll be a new... no, I got to stop.
Michael Moore. Dear Sony hackers, now that you run Hollywood, I'd also like less romantic comedies, fewer Michael Bay movies, no more Transformers.
That's right on. I dig that, man. I dig that.
That's pretty funny.
That's right on, man. Yeah. I think we're going to be talking about this Sony hack for a long time to come.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break.
Sorry, other stories. Break.
Yeah, if you have other stories, but keep following that breaking news. Breaking tweets.
Celebrity tweets.
Celebrity tweets on the Sony hack. This just in.
Well, we got Rob Lowe.
Oh, what does Rob Lowe have to say?
Rob Lowe says, 2 tweets. Wow, everyone caved. The hackers won. An utter and complete victory for them. Wow. 2 wows. It's a 2 wow tweeter. Gina right now is rushing to find out the wow count in everybody's tweets.
I'm counting wows. We're counting wows.
Right,
I have some sympathy for the exhibitors because even if they had the movie, no one's going to go see it, right? Or would they fill theaters? What do you think?
Well, here's the way I looked at it. I would go, but then would I take my child?
No.
No.
Let's not get crazy. These guys aren't going to attack.
No, I know, but
who knows?
Second late-breaking Rob Lowe tweet.
Oh, boy.
Saw Seth Rogen at JFK. Both of us have never seen or heard of anything like this. Hollywood has done Neville Chamberlain proud today.
Oh, capitulation. What do they call it when Chamberlain...
Quisling?
No, it wasn't a Quisling. What did he do with Hitler? Anyway, there was a word for it. Damn, I'm getting old. That's when you're really old. When you remember the story.
The word is out there somewhere.
Appeasement. Thank you, Stoic Squirrel.
Get it? It's like a firefly. I can get that word.
Yeah, there's a word there somewhere.
Very
appeasement.
Well, we need a chat room to follow us around all the time to give us the words we don't know.
Thank God for the chat room. That's such good stuff. I'm mainlining the chat room now. Our show today brought to you by FreshBooks. This was talking about good stuff. This was a lifesaver when I was sending out invoices. I used to use Microsoft Word to create invoices, and it was such a pain to do it and then print it and then mail it and all that stuff that I would never do it. I would wait months. And then, they would get the invoices and they go, wait a minute, you can't invoice for stuff 6 months ago. What are you, nuts? You can get paid faster. You can send out invoice faster. You can actually make invoicing fun and easy with FreshBooks, the cloud accounting solution designed from the ground up for entrepreneurs and small businesses. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, because I used FreshBooks for years. Get a fresh start for 2015 with FreshBooks. It's the easiest way to invoice clients, to organize expenses, to track your time. You will love it. You'll spend less time on paperwork. They've done research that says that FreshBooks customers free up 2 days a month that they would be normally doing all this junk. On average, FreshBooks customers double their revenue in the first 24 months. And this is the one I cared about. And you get paid an average of 5 days faster. And I will vouch for that. Absolutely true. They have mobile apps now that allow you to track time and hours and put them right into your invoices. You can also take care of expenses, snap photos of receipts right from your phone, track expenses easily. The report system, your accountant will love it. Learn how to get started by watching a free webinar right now at freshbooks.com. And if you ever need help, you'll talk to a live person every time. Their support is always on, ready to help, and free forever. Try FreshBooks free for 30 days. Bennett Coleman, who's a web designer and developer, says I seriously don't get excited about accounting. Who does? But I love FreshBooks. I love setting up recurring hosting invoices. It's true. Go to freshbooks.com/twig and enter this week in Google when they ask you, how did you hear about it? freshbooks.com/TWIG. Start your 30-day free trial today. And all we ask, when they ask you, how'd you hear about us? You say, this week in Google. This week in Google. Ladies and gentlemen, Gina Trapani has our tip of the week.
Oh wait, can we do one last story?
Yes.
Really quick. Sorry. I
Yes.
just thought that this Microsoft knucklehead blog post. Did you do this on Wednesday Weekly?
I put that one up there. Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff.
What?
This thing is just funny. So Microsoft does a company blog post, which is clearly about Google, but it's weird and they pulled it, but it's still in Google's cache, ironically. And it's basically saying that Google Apps is terrible compared to Office 360. But it's got this long story about this guy's knucklehead son. Yeah, if you click on the cache version link, there's a link like
Lord.
you gotta.
This isn't the first time. Remember Gmail Man reading your email?
Yeah, and Scroogled. It's along those lines.
This is not the first time.
This post is gold. It's kind of gold. Yeah. My knucklehead son doesn't want to go to college. No, instead he wants to wander around the country in a Volkswagen camper van, posting his adventures on YouTube for legions of adoring fans, pausing just long enough to cup his hands under a gushing spigot of money piped by grateful advertisers. I tell him he sounds like Google. And it just goes from there. It's crazy and weird and funny. So anyway, yes, that was my last.
Thank you, Mark Penn.
And I'm going to give you one more breaking tweet.
Oh, yes.
The Situation Room. U.S. investigators determined North Korea is behind Sony attack.
Oh.
Evan Perez reports.
Oh.
Interesting.
In fact, there's...
So then the whole GOP Guardians of Peace thing was probably...
there's a video. I'll put it up on the rundown right now.
That's from CNN. I don't. The FBI has not been talking about this.
Just put up the video under where did I put it? Bottom of Google. Video CNN.
Okay. I see. You'll have to get it because I've closed out.
Oh, you're ready to say goodbye to us already?
I'm on my way home in my mind. In my mind, I'm on my way home.
I'm getting a sign-in thing for cable services.
Oh, crap.
Oh, don't.
Oh, I hate you, Xfinity.
What are you doing? How does that happen?
You can't watch CNN unless you prove you get CNN.
In a tweet?
But in the embedded tweet, it appears.
Well, thank you.
Tweet
it appears in the tweet.
On behalf of the North Korean government. The question now is, what do we do about it? We expect that there's going to be an announcement tomorrow from the U.S. government that will assign attribution, as they describe it, for responsibility for this hack. And then the question will be what the U.S. government's response will be, because obviously, nothing happens in North Korea without orders from the leadership of the regime. They control the internet there. So there's no way this attack could have been done by anyone other than if it was ordered by the leadership of that country.
Okay, so that's very light on facts. So
of course it is. It's internet.
I would like to know which department of the U.S. government announced that and why they think that. And, of course, none of that was available. U.S. investigators. Is that the FBI? I don't know.
Yeah, I know. We don't know. Alec Ross, who was a deputy secretary of state under Hillary Clinton, was the social person, very, very smart guy. I just put up a link to his piece on Huffington Post where he talks about this as cyber warfare and where does it stop. And he has, it's lighthearted in some ways. He says that it's only a matter of time before some hotshot group of engineers recognizes and installs a cyber attack, and instead of calling the authorities, who can't do anything anyway, the VP of engineering orders a counterattack against the aggressor. If Sony had a better engineering department, if it were a little more Northern California instead of Southern California, I wonder what would have happened. If they had identified the source of the hack and shot back with a DDoS attack, would North Koreans have considered this an invasion by the United States or Japan, where Sony is actually headquartered?
I'm going to call BS on this CNN report.
Yep.
I would like to see where they got this from.
I don't know. I would too.
I think there's a lot of, first of all, if North Korea did it, why would they deny they did it?
Well,
wouldn't they want to crow about it?
You're also looking for sane activities around Kim Jong-un. Come on.
And then there's a Wired magazine or a Wired online article about that says North Korea almost certainly did not attack Sony. Now,
who knows?
The problem is I don't know what investigators they're saying. There's so much more we need to know, and I'd like to see their evidence.
True, that's true. Yeah, I don't mean to jump to anything. Breaking news: the Situation Room.
Yeah, U.S. investigators is not sufficient.
So this will make your head explode, just like Kim Jong-un's. Time magazine has a piece: 3 reasons people think North Korea hacked Sony, main head, subhead, and 4 reasons it might have been somebody else. Which is to say, we don't know.
We don't know anything.
I think it wasn't Sony, North Korea, but I think that the Guardians of Peace, once they sniffed that possibility, decided to play along.
I think you're a wise voice of sanity here.
Yeah, I'd just like to see I'd like to see more. We know so little because they haven't revealed much.
Sorry
Gina,
for that late-breaking interruption.
Your tip of the week.
Yeah, let's do our tip of the week. So the new the Hangouts dialer app is now a full-fledged system dialer. That's on Android. That means that you can switch over to using Hangouts for your phone calls for everything. You can say, when you tap on a phone number in your email or calendar or whatever, you'll get prompted which dialer you want to use. And now Hangouts dialer, it was not before a full-fledged system dialer that you could set to, but now it is. So you can say always use your Hangouts dialer, and you can always use Hangouts for your phone. So moving farther and farther away from depending upon carriers for your number and your calls.
Gina, would you trust Hangouts as your always choice?
I do already. I mean, I use Google Voice and I switched over to Hangouts. Yeah.
I don't do it on my phone. I do it on my desktop. That's how I make phone calls at home. I put on because I want to hear my headset and it just sounds better. It's more relaxed. But my question, Google Voice was not VoIP. This is VoIP. This does not use your minutes. It uses data only. Is that right?
That's true. Hangouts, yes, when you make calls.
So this is not the Google Voice system. This is a different system that is data only. It's VoIP.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it works great in my basement where I don't get bars.
Right. The only issue for me is there's a little bit of lag, more lag than there would be on a cell call.
Right. For me, it's like kind of lesser of two evils, though. I mean, I feel like cell calls can be so bad.
They can be bad, too, yeah.
I mean, they can be bad, too, so it's like one or the other. But if you do want to switch over to Hangouts, you can make the switch now. It's a full dialer.
Awesome.
And, of course, you get the choice always or just this one, so you don't have to commit to always.
I might try that. Interesting. Jeffrey, your number of the week
is 20. It's the last of the 3 links in my numbers section. And I don't know why this fascinated me so much, and I tweeted it, and I got tweeted like crazy. Gina will soon tell me exactly how much I got retweeted. And in fact, I think I've already did. And it's the top 20 websites every December from 1996 to 2013. And it's really small, but if you just click on the chart, and it doesn't work well on audio, but it's a stroll through memory lane. So 1996, 2 years after Netscape, AOL was tops. AOL was tops for 2, 4, 6, 7 years. Webcrawler, InfoSeek, Prodigy, CompuServe, umish.edu, cmu.edu, mit.edu. I just found that people just were digging into this and having all kinds of fun. Trying to remember, Tripod, Switchboard, of course, Alta Vista, of course, Lycos, of course, InfoSeek.
This is really cool.
Penthouse was a top 20 website in 1996.
Wow.
For one brief, shining, naked moment.
I read it for the letters, man. I read it for the letters.
By the way, right after Penthouse, Excite. So that's appropriate.
Now, AOL disappears in 2003, and I noted that, but then somebody said, no, it just mixed it with Time Warner.
Ah, that's why Time Warner's number 2 in 2003
exactly.
and 4 and 5.
But the other thing that struck me about this is that in 2013, the last year of this, Yahoo, which I think we said at the time,
came back.
Was the top website, which also shows you that being the top website is not necessarily a great business.
Doesn't mean much.
Nope. Yeah, Google's business is not about being a website at all.
Who's Glam Media?
Well, funny you should ask. I'm an advisor to Glam.
Oh, they're number what, 8 on the list.
They're phenomenal. Now they're number 7, and Glam is amazing. The reason I like Glam, Samir Arora is the CEO. He came into my office one day many years ago, and he read What Would Google Do, and he said, I have to show you this. You're going to understand this. Glam is a network. Glam is 6,000 sites as a network, and they sell ads across all of them. And it's the power of the network. And it amazes me to this day that no one in media has understood the power of Glam's model. And it's not about creating all your own content, owning your own content. Glam at first was just a women's brand, and it fought against iVillage. iVillage was the queen of women online. iVillage recently has been fully shut down by NBCU. Glam won. Glam has gone into other areas, men and other things. They've done Foodie, which is a great site. They understand how to aggregate, how to create ad networks, and nobody knows them. I was just talking to Samir only yesterday, and their first goal was to get this. They bought Ning, and they believe that
Ning. Yeah.
Yep. So they say that every social site needs content, and every content site needs social. And they're going to be doing some new things soon around that. So pardon the little ad for Glam, but I think Glam's a fascinating story.
Well, it was the only one on that list I didn't know. So there you go.
Exactly. And they're huge, and they grew huge by creating networks to enable bloggers, basically.
Oh. That's cool.
Isn't it?
So my tool of the week kind of tags on something that we talked about last week, Android Studio now out of beta and available to all. And Go, the language Go from Google, which is a really nice, elegant, concurrent programming language designed for web. But the confluence is they've just released Go 1.4, and you can write Android apps in Go.
Wait, what?
What?
Really?
Wait, what? Not
you can write
full,
Android apps?
Not full. They say simple Android apps, but I'm going to investigate.
Yeah,
Breaking
that's
news,
interesting.
Gina.
But it's very interesting because I hate Java. I hate it. I don't want to use Java. And so I have a simple app I want to write that would be a purpose-built app for me that would I want to put on my Nexus 6 that would just do the countdown timing for the radio show. And I did the Hello World, as you said, and it was very easy. I got it on my and I kind of added to that. But then I saw, oh no, now I have to write the rest of this in Java.
Womp womp.
Wah, wah. I've written Java, and I don't like it. I guess I could go back and learn it again and do it again. But I'd be much happier if it were in Go. So I will investigate. But the newest version of Go, Go 1.4, which is the 5th release, one of the new features is it's going to be more than just kind of a system language. They're going to start supporting Android development in Go, much as Apple now has moved or is allowing Swift in Xcode. So I think
what makes I asked you this last week. What makes a good language and a bad language? I'll ask it again. Why don't you like JavaScript?
JavaScript is not what I don't like. I actually don't.
Java.
Well, it's just that's personal. I just don't like it.
Is it creepy, Leo?
I like languages. I like interpreted languages because it's really easy to iterate. You know, you write, compile, run very quickly. But the disadvantage of traditional interpreted languages is that they're slow. There's a lot of overhead. So Python, Ruby, Perl, these are all interpreted languages. Go as well. Sometimes they call them kind of pejoratively scripting languages. But I feel like if there's a certain advantage to having this quick iteration cycle and a very clean, simple syntax. The other thing about Go, that was written specifically to support concurrency and so forth. So it has nice features for that. That probably won't benefit you with Android programming, but I feel like I could much more easily write the program I want in Go. So I have to investigate. I'm still investigating what does that mean when they say Android support.
Yeah. I'm reading about it, and this is interesting. Right?
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, because when you write your to-do text, it's written in Java.
It's in Java, yeah. I love Java, and I mean, Java was the first sort of truly, the object-oriented languages, the language that I kind of cut my teeth on.
Yeah, that's why you like it, sure.
Languages, and so I do like it. But I do agree that, a language like Go, I haven't played with Go a lot, but it sounds like it's similar to Ruby or PHP or a scripting language. It's just easier to start with for sure.
Yeah.
Lighter.
And just for something like what I want to write, very simple. I wouldn't want to write even to-do.txt in Go. But for what I want to write, which is really a very simple app, it might be more than enough, and that I would for sure prefer that. Go is fun. If I know the hour of code is over now. It was a minute of code.
My hour of code is never over.
Can we make this a year of code? What about it, huh? How about a decade of code? Let's go for it, man. So,
Leo, you don't believe CNN? Will you believe the New York Times?
Yeah, they say it too. I do believe them.
American intelligence officials have concluded that the North Korean government was centrally involved, quote unquote, in the recent attacks. That
I believe.
Senior administration officials,
so they're
who would not
leaking
speak
this
on the record about the intelligence findings, said the White House is still debating whether to publicly accuse North Korea of what amounts to cyber terrorism campaign.
So
officials said it was not clear how the White House would decide to respond to North Korea. So this is all trial balloon stuff.
This is all trial balloon to see what the reaction is, particularly from North Korea at this point.
Some within the Obama administration argue that the government of Mr. Kim must be directly confronted, but that raises the question of what consequences the administration would threaten. We're going to force you to read, to watch the interview. But is that torture? But that raises, or how much of its evidence it would make public without revealing details of how the United States was able to penetrate North Korean computer networks to trace the source of the hacking. Others argue that a direct confrontation with the North over the threats to Sony and moviegoers might result in escalation. What are they going to do? Get rid of Into the Woods next? And give North Korea the kind of confrontation it often covets. Feed the troll.
Well, this is more effective than their nuclear weapons program.
Yep.
And I think if the success they've achieved, if this is North Korea, the success they've achieved is absolutely gonna.
Oh, who's watching? Putin's watching this, saying this is gonna get me out of this currency.
This is good. Forget oil dollars. I'm going after Sony.
That accent's better, Leo. The Spanish accent just
not so good. I apologize.
It doesn't work.
You ought to hear my Romanian accent.
Japan, for which Sony is an iconic corporate name, has argued that a public accusation could interfere with the delicate diplomatic negotiations underway for the return of Japanese nationals kidnapped years ago.
Very true.
Well.
So this was leaked by the administration to the Times and CNN.
Yep, and NBC as well.
And NBC. And, well, I think it must be true then.
No, I wouldn't. Don't forget the New York Times said there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. So let's hold off a little bit.
Yeah, really, all they're saying is that senior administration officials say off the record, say.
Right. So let's.
Although, why would they say that if they didn't think it was true? Because that is inflammatory to say that. Wow. Anyway, that is the end of this show.
Phew.
What a good show.
Good show. Good year.
I love this. What a good year it has been. next week, if you tune in at this time, you will see the best of Twig. Some of our best moments from 2014. Rants, raves, liked sich recht.
Was that this year? Was that this year or last year?
Oh, God, it all blends together. I believe it was this year, wasn't it?
Well, Chipotle,
Jason,
so it's 2012.
Yeah, we're not talking about Glee this year.
Yeah, no.
That's right.
So 2012. We've been doing this show for 5 years now. I mean, yeah.
My new favorite is Master Chef Junior. Did you watch the finale last night?
I just saw the promos for it, and I thought, I really don't want to watch Gordon Ramsay scream at children.
No, he didn't, though. And it was just, these kids were amazing.
They look like they really are good cooks.
And you know what made me so happy about it is let's be honest. Every one of these kids is probably treated like a food geek at school. Right? And they're going to go back heroes.
Yeah. Food, by the way, is the new tech. I have decided.
Yes.
It is the new information technology. It is the new thing. And I am announcing now, today on this show for the first time ever, Twit is abandoning technology. We're going to cover food nonstop from now on.
This week in asparagus. Breaking news, asparagus.
I'll do a live stream from my mom's Christmas Eve dinner.
Don't you think we'd just be happier in general if we forgot about all this tech stuff and just talked about food?
This isn't a good way to end this year on the show, Leo. Come on.
We're renaming the show This Week in Grub.
The last Twig ever.
No. We'll be back.
We live in an amazing time.
We do, and we're watching it. Ringside seats on the Revolution. The 2 weeks from now will be New Year's Eve, and we are starting at 3 in the morning on New Year's Eve Pacific time. We'll go to 3 in the morning New Year's Day Pacific time as we greet every time zone across the world and wish them Happy New Year. And I think we have calls from almost every time zone. Do you mind if I do a short list of time zones we're still looking for? And you can go to twit.tv/NYE and sign up. We need Norfolk Island. We need the Northern Marianas Islands, including Guam, Micronesia, and Vladivostok. If you're in Vladivostok. Burma, Cocos, Afghanistan, Iran. That ain't going to happen. Azores, Cape Verde, Trinidad, South Georgia, or Sandwich Islands. But most importantly, our last time zone of the 24-hour period, 3 a.m. New Year's Day, Jarvis Island, a bird sanctuary in the Pacific.
Fly me there, and I'll do it.
Jeff will do it. It's got Jeff's name written all over it.
Literally.
Literally.
Yeah.
It's apparently it's a bird sanctuary.
Yeah, and the problem is it wasn't really named after a guy named Jarvis. It's a typo.
It's a typo?
Yeah, it's some other name. It's not Jarvis.
You're kidding me.
No.
Here it is. No trespassing. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Jarvis Island. You sure, Jeff, we can't get you to go there? And
I'm thinking so.
It has a flag of its very own. It's an unincorporated, unorganized territory managed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. So it belongs to all of us. It belongs to America. It isn't very big, but it has to have its New Year's Day just like every other island. So we need somebody from Jarvis, and then we will go home after that one. That'll be the last one. So if you're in those time zones, twit.tv/NYE. We are doing this all for UNICEF. We hope to raise lots of money for UNICEF. We've got auctions and prizes and all sorts of stuff. We're going to do it just like the Jerry Lewis telethons of my youth. I'm going to wear a tuxedo. We were going to have a tote board. We'll have a drum roll.
What platform are you using for the contributions?
United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, has a platform for us. In fact, right after this, I'm making a video, our video for them. It's UNICEF USA, but the money will go to children all over the world. And we were looking for an international charity that was highly rated. Charity Navigator gives them 4 out of 4 stars. 91% of every dollar spent goes right to children. Everybody's familiar with this, at least in the U.S., because we all went around with those orange boxes on Halloween trick-or-treating for UNICEF. So We want to, and they're doing a lot to help children in Africa from Ebola. So I thought this would be a good one for us.
Indiegogo just made its personal campaign platform free.
Neat.
So
Neat.
for future times when you want to raise something for a charity or want to raise it for yourself, actually,
That's
to
really
say,
neat.
I need to send my kid to college, that's now an option.
Isn't that great? That's appropriate. That's
Yeah.
appropriate. Anyway, so do join us anytime in the New Year's Eve time frame, 3 a.m. New Year's Eve, 3 a.m. New Year's Day. I'm going to be up all night, and we have so much stuff planned. It is just going to. I mean, we had so much fun last year. We said let's go all in this year, and it's costing us a pretty penny. We've taken over the street out front. We got permits from the city of Petaluma. Please don't rain. And
what happens out there if it does rain?
It'll be wet.
It'll just be a wet bouncy
It'll be
castle.
a lot easier to fall off the mechanical bull.
That's true. It'll keep the line moving.
Yes. Yeah. It's going to be weird.
Uh-oh. I got to give you one more.
Oh, no.
One more.
More tweets?
Donald Trump.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, boy.
Just go to twitter.com/real Donald Trump.
Oh. Oh. What does he say?
I haven't even watched it yet. I just put how can you avoid?
There are a lot of tweets on this, aren't there?
Oh yeah, it's going crazy.
Donald Trump, a sad day for freedom of speech. No, I got it right here. Let's play the video. Wait a minute. I guess I don't have the video. You got the video. Play the video. Trump vlog, the interview movie, a sad day for freedom of speech. I post something on Instagram.
Is it playing?
Well, I hear it was a terrible, terrible movie. Sony has absolutely no courage or guts. They should have never pulled it.
King John you're fired. I like it how he has to preface it. Although I hear it was a terrible movie. That was gratuitous. Oh. Hey, Kim, you want to mess with this man? I don't think so. Look at that hair.
Well, I said, who has weirder hair, Donald Trump or Kim Jong-un?
Yeah, there you go. Feels like they should know each other. Happy Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah. Jeff, Gina, love doing this show with you. Take the week off next week. Enjoy
Merry whatever.
Is this? It's not Edda's first Christmas. It's her second Christmas.
It's her second Christmas.
Oh, she's going to start to know what's going on now.
Wait, what am I talking about? It's her third Christmas.
Third.
Yeah. She was born in September, so she was only tiny little.
Baby's first Christmas. Yeah, she didn't remember that, but she'll remember this one.
Yeah, it's pretty great. We get to watch. We
so much fun.
Rudolph, and she's starting to understand a little bit more now, so that's good.
Now, do you do that new thing, the Elf on the Shelf? Did you do that?
We love the Elf on the Shelf. Grandma has one of those. Yeah.
We didn't have that when I was a kid, right, Jeff? That's new.
What on the shelf?
Yeah, see?
That's all you need to know.
This is something new.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can have a new Christmas tradition, but apparently you can.
You do the Elf on the Shelf for a couple of days, and it quickly becomes a tradition.
It's kind of cool.
Oh, now
the kids
I
love it.
understand.
Yeah.
So,
You're seeing this everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Well, so now it makes sense. On Shark Tank for their holiday, the first business in was a guy who did Mensch on the Bench.
Oh yeah, now you get it.
Yep, that's what it is.
Now I get it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a Hallmark tradition because there's this whole elfontheshelf.com, and they have kids.
I mean, they have tons of merchandise around this.
It's been heavily merched, although I don't know if they own it. But you hide the elf every day in December?
No, we don't hide the elf.
Sorry, what am I saying? The elf hides himself.
At night, the elf flies back to the North Pole to tell Santa how the kids have been, and then positions themselves in the house in a different place for the next morning.
Wait a second, Jason. So now your kid is surveilled?
Yeah.
Is it the NSA?
It's to get him ready for the NSA.
Yeah. Pretty much. That's exactly what it is. But see, this is the thing. They opt in because they are genuinely curious. So they opt into their location tracking. It's okay.
Actually, the Washington Post has an article that says the elf on the shelf is preparing your child to live in a future police state, professor warns.
I was joking.
They've taken your quote and they've made it a story already. So,
wow.
But here's the thing on the elf on the shelf. It's a registered trademark. To me, a Christmas tradition should not be registered trademark. Santa Claus is not a registered trademark.
Capitalism, man.
Somebody owns the elf on the shelf.
I just searched elf on the shelf creepy. Tons of links.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tons. Elf on the shelf is terrorizing our kids.
Really?
Elf on the shelf.
No, I think kids like it.
Creepy reality.
Don't kids like it?
Yes, because they name it. They give it a name, and
where did you get your elf on the shelf? Did you hand make one from sticks and old rags just like Grandma did?
No, we bought one.
You got it at the store.
Got it at the store. But here's the story behind it: is that Santa creates all these elves and puts them in a box in the store. So when kids see them in the store, they aren't magical until they name them. So you bring it home, you give it a name, and that's when they start moving around at night when they don't watch. So
all right, a few dirty words here, but I recommend elfonntheshelfwillkillus.us.
It's a little Chucky. It's a little bit Chucky.
Elf on the Shelf is creepy, says the headline.
Apparently, Rudolph was created by a department store. Santa Claus, as we know him, comes from a Pepsi commercial. This is a long tradition of Christmas commercialism. God bless it.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody. That's it for this week at Google. We'll see you in 2 weeks in 2015. Bye-bye.